Hello, everyone. I am Phoenix Tremaine, and this is my commentary for Divorce Court, Episode 7, Hendrix versus Parsons. Although they're married and clearly the screen showed that both of their name is Parsons, but I checked the Divorce Court official YouTube page, and it also says Hendrix versus Parsons. But here we go. This is going to be a short video. I really wasn't that excited about this episode. I don't have a lot to say about this episode, but clear case of toxic masculinity. I actually hate the term toxic masculinity because I believe that masculinity is important. I believe that masculinity in men right now, I don't want to say it's a movement, but there's the Me Too movement. But men are so on edge that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, it can be misconstrued. Now, of course, there is toxic masculinity, which is problematic and causes lots of problems and can lead to rape and molestation and sexual abuse in the workplace and just fighting and just aggressive and just there is for sure toxic masculinity out there. I mean, I've been in situations where clearly, people around me were masculine to a toxic level where it really hurt the environment and the natures and the emotions of the people around them because they left no room for common sense. But I think that masculinity also in part is being a gentleman. And so there's a time for being macho, and then there's a time for being a gentleman, and also the way that you handle yourself with diplomacy. So there's a lot more to being a man than being a caveman. Even though I refer to myself as a caveman for many years, especially the way I used to think about things. And this episode, I thought he was disrespectful to the judge when he was saying that, your husband doesn't, listen to most of what I say. He's like, yeah. No, that's toxic masculinity. You're now cheering that a husband is not hearing his wife, and you feel this is a good thing. So it kind of ignored me and annoyed me the fact that we also have the same name. My name is Tremaine. His name is Tremaine. Good Lord, we need to do better. And I like the fact that he did help her with her postpartum depression, which was great. I mean, it showed that despite some of his toxic masculinity ways, he does have a teddy bear in there somewhere that she obviously loves and enjoys. So I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying I felt like there were several times during the course of the case where I felt he was being disrespectful to Judge Lynn. And I don't know, I saw that she saw something in him that could be fixed and that she didn't really take it the way I took it and as being disrespectful, because she didn't even call him out on his disrespectful behavior. But I think y'all know by now, I don't like when people are disrespectful to Judge Lynn in her court. Just like, Judge Mathis doesn't allow disrespect in his court. I remember the years when Judge Mathis first started and he was tied, like he couldn't throw people out and do things he wanted to do. And then one year it was like, the handcuffs were off. It was like, contempt of court, get out. That's what I really felt Judge Lynn really needed to let him know, look, calm down. I'm trying to give you some advice to save your marriage. Stop being let's just say toxic masculinity. Because I think that word is overused too much, because toxic masculinity should not mean you can't be masculine. But for some people, that's exactly what it means. They want you to be feminine all the time because I'm getting off subject. But he helped her with her postpartum depression. He lived in a part of North Richmond that doesn't have police department. It's like a no man's land. And, you know, it's sort of like when you grow up in the hood and you gotta be tough, because if you're not tough, it's kill or be killed. You know, they're gonna see you as the sheep and they're the lions, and you know, sheep get eaten. So, you know, you've always got to be extra, because like for me, being in certain environments, what got me out of getting into trouble was sometimes I had to go a little crazy, you know, and they go, oh, don't mess with him, he's crazy. So I understand where he's coming from. I understand how he got the way he is, and I understand how he got that way. And there's some things that I can understand during the course of the case, like, you know, he has to be hard all the time. And the career he picked, it doesn't mellow him out, because once you're in a corrections job, then you've got to be on your toes 100% all the time, because these inmates are always looking for a way to get over. And if you're a CO, you've got to be very vigilant on not allowing them to take control, and especially in certain correction facilities, there's more of them than there are of you, and they pretty much can run the show if they really want to. And in some cases they do. So, you know, you've really got to be on your guard to do that. And like, I can understand what he said, especially growing up the way he grew up, that hugs are fake to him. And I've said this in prior videos that I know there's a lot of people in my family that are fake, and they go, oh, I love you so much. I'm like, you don't even know me. You ain't seen me in 10 years. What the fuck you mean you know me? Last time I seen you, I was like 10, you know, and now all of a sudden, you know, you want to act like, you know, you've been by my side for the last 20 years. Stuff like that. You know, going to family reunions, family functions. There's a whole lot of false phoniness going on. I love it when it's real, but when it's fake, I kind of tense up. Like, hey, I ain't seen you in a long time, cuz, hey, yeah, fist bump. You know, there's a lot of fakeness. So I understand what he's talking about. Now, his nervousness around white people, that kind of goes against you being the masculine man's man, and you're scared to be around a bunch of white people because it's not what you're used to. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. You know, yes, there are white people that are white supremacists and racists and KKK and Aryan Nation, and you know, no, you don't want to be around them. No, you don't want to be in that environment. And no, you definitely don't want to be in places where those people run. Like, what are they doing with your food? So I can understand where you're coming from if you were in that environment. But if this is a job thing that she's got going on, and she just has you around her coworkers that happen to be white, man up. Good Lord, being a pussy. You know what I'm saying? I know I just had a whole conversation about toxic masculinity, but at the same time I said men are still supposed to be masculine, so don't be a fucking pussy around white people. And also when it comes to food, yeah, I see what kind of body type you got. So yeah, I'm sure there's a whole lot of mac and cheese and cornbread and sweet potatoes and all that good stuff and fried chicken. But there's nothing wrong with trying new foods. And yes, I've gone to expensive restaurants, came home hungry, like an hour later, like they say Chinese food, you eat Chinese food, an hour later you're hungry again. But it's about the experience. It's about tasting something new. It's about trying something new. It's about trying a different type of restaurant. You know, this summer I went to Fogo de Chao twice. And the first time I went with my baby, and we went there, and the bill was like 260, something like that. And then I went with my men's group, and it was like restaurant week, and I think we paid maybe 40 or 50 each. It was like 8 of us, and so yeah. But it's all well, and actually we did have access to all the food, but you know what I'm saying. It was an expensive restaurant, but also the wait staff was amazing. You know, all of the different types of food was amazing. They walk around with these different meat cuts of meats, and you just turn your card over, and then they'll come and offer you different types of cuts and slices. And I mean, it's a great environment. It's a great place to be. Everybody working there seems happy. You know, I don't think there's, yeah, everybody seems happy, and you know, it was a good place to dine, and it was a good experience, but it was expensive. Was I hungry later that night? Sure. Even though, because I don't gorge myself at all you can eat, but you know, but it was about the experience. So sometimes you just gotta live life. In strategic listening, I do that too. You know, I think that that's a skill everybody should have. Like when you're, like I'm a strategic listener in a sense that when I'm with somebody I love, I listen to everything you have to say, and I zone in and I focus and I try to remember everything that you said, because I know that it's going to come up again, or there's something in that conversation that I can do to surprise you. Oh, I haven't had flowers in a long time. Okay, so by the time you get home, you're getting flowers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a strategic listener in the sense that I strategically listen for things that is going to affect you emotionally, things that are going to affect you like work-wise, things that are going to affect you sexually, you know, and so that in a relationship, I can anticipate what type of behavior I need to exhibit, what type of things I need to do to make you feel good, so that, you know, that our relationship can be like, I've always had like situations where I was dating, and, you know, I'm not a person, I don't deal well with arguing and drama, and I'm always gone. Like, and I'm not saying like gone, like I leave and you know, I come back. No, it's like, no, you only get one shot with me, with me occasionally twice. And, you know, if I like you, I might say, I didn't like that behavior, you know, don't do it again. You do it again, I'm done. It's no, oh, no third chances with me, you know. You get it right the first time, don't get it wrong the second time. And, you know, and I give what I get back. So I'm not putting out all this energy and learning about you and loving on you and making sure that you're happy when you're not doing the same for me. So I do that in a relationship where I'm getting that back, okay, which is the relationship I'm in now. And I know sometimes, you know, I was in situations early on in my 20s where, you know, there were like argumentative situations where like I said, I rolled out because I don't do drama. And let me in the let me end here, because I'm about to go into a tangent and about to get on my soapbox. But my last note on here says that there could be a problem in the future with linking sex with communication, especially if for any reason she decides that she needs a break, you know, but making sex anonymous with communication, you know, it can be fun at first, but he needs to be able to do it without necessarily sex. Like when you train a dog, if I tell a dog to sit and I give that dog a treat, every time I tell that dog to sit, they're going to look for that treat. So there are times when I tell that dog to sit and I give the dog a treat and they're happy. And then there are times when that dog sits. I say sit, the dog sits, and I just pat the dog on the head. They look at me like I'm crazy, but I've taught them that every time I tell you to do something, it doesn't mean you're going to get a treat. It means that you're going to get my appreciation, whether it's a pat on the head or whether it's a treat. So I just thought that that was not necessarily the best communication. I knew that Judge Lynn knew that in his mind, in the way he acted on the show, sex was extremely important to him, enough for him to go in environments he was uncomfortable with. And she's like, okay, so I'm going to use sex as a way to get you to communicate with your wife, which you should be doing anyway. And I think that sometimes you should get sex, and sometimes you should get a pat on the head and a thank you. And that thank you could come in the form of her not talking him to death, because, you know, he's definitely a man that has to learn communication and has to appreciate and love good communication. And they have to learn how to talk to each other. They have to learn how to speak each other's language. Don't talk to him when football's on. You know, you want to talk to him in the morning when he's reading his paper, you know, while you're fixing breakfast. You know what I'm saying? You know, that could be a good time to talk, unless it's an article of something going down like the elections that happened. You know, but y'all can talk about the elections. So you got to learn the language and learn what a person's interests are, so that when you do strike up a conversation, you know that it's not like, ugh, this shit again. You know, it's going to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I would, you know, the same thing he would talk to his boys about, you know, and he should give her back the same communication. He should know that if she wants to talk about, you know, her favorite show on TV or something like that, and, you know, he's like, oh, how was the show last night? And then that's when he goes to active listening. Like, he's listening, but he's not listening. So I actually said more about this than I was going to, but hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. I'm definitely interested in what y'all have to say, especially if you want to start a conversation on what you consider toxic masculinity and what you consider to be just regular old masculinity. And thanks for watching. Good conversation. Catch you in the next video.